When the eldest daughter of the Rock, Alana, goes home from dance lessons, she unwittingly stumbles upon a racist and biased policeman, who confronts her, mistakenly believing that she is not up to anything good. The situation takes a dramatic turn for the worse when a police officer physically drags her to his police car, causing her to stumble and injure her knees. This policeman has no idea that he has just chosen the wrong person to contact, as he is about to come face to face with Alana's father, none other than the formidable and powerful Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Subscribe and like this video to see how the story unfolds. Dusk is falling over the sleepy suburb. Its tranquility is disturbed only by the soft rhythm of Alana's steps. She walks down the street, imagining visions in a dancing swimsuit and slippers, with a backpack, a faithful companion of many late nights in the studio, easily slung over her shoulder. The hum of Alana fills the quiet evening air. His melody dances in tandem with her youthful energy. She is blissfully unaware of the sinister creature lurking in the shadows of nearby bushes. As the last rays of sunlight slide over the horizon, the serenity of the suburb is disturbed by the howling of approaching sirens. Alana, struck by her musical reverie, turns around and sees a police patrol, screeching to a stop at the curb. Its flashing blue and red lights flood the street with eerie light. A lone officer steps out of it, his uniform pressed to perfection, the badge on his chest shining like a beacon at dusk. Officer Grayson, whose voice radiates authority, calls out to Kalani, and his words cut through the silence of the night. "Hey you!" He barks, and his tone leaves no room for uncertainty. "Where are you thinking of going?" Alana stops, her heart pounding. The calm she enjoyed just moments ago dissolves as she tries to figure out why this officer is addressing her. "I'm going home, sir," she answers, swallowing her growing fear. Officer Grayson, a mixture of superiority and amusement on his face, gets out of the car. His body radiates an alarming arrogance as he walks towards Alana, his smug grin getting wider, like a predator sizing up its prey. With each step, the distance between them decreases. The slit contracts like a noose tightening around Alana's throat. Grayson, standing in front of her now, looms over Alana with a confidence bordering on malice. Officer Grayson leans in, his voice low and insinuating. "This isn't your neighborhood, is it?" he asks, and his words are laced with accusation. "Are you sure you're not up to something? A young girl like you is walking alone at this hour." Alana shifts uncomfortably under the weight of Grayson's gaze. Her mind races in search of an explanation that might satisfy his suspicion. "I'm just coming home from dance lessons," says Alana. Her words stumble from each other like marbles rolling down the stairs. Her nerves, once tense and restrained, begin to unravel like a ball of yarn. "I live just a few blocks from here," she stammers, looking from Grayson's face to the cruiser behind him, desperately seeking escape from this unwanted encounter. "I'm not doing anything wrong." But Grayson's expression remains unchanged, a mask of self-confident skepticism hiding on his face. His grin, always present, gets wider, stretching across his face like a razor grin. His voice, steeped in mockery, cuts through the growing tension like a scalpel. "Of course," he mocks, and his words are full of contemptuous disbelief. "Let me see your ID." Alana's hands are fidgeting nervously, searching her pockets for her wallet. With trembling fingers, she pulls out her student ID and hands it to Grayson. With lightning speed, Grayson snatches the ID card from Alana's trembling grip. His fingers tighten around him with possessive force. His grin, now tinged with cruelty, takes on a complacency bordering on malice. His eyes scan the ID card, seeming to enjoy the power he possesses at this moment. Grayson snorts derisively and throws the ID card back to Alana with a dismissive flick of his wrist. Alana Johnson. He grins, his tone mocking. You're not one of those famous Johnsons, are you? The rich and famous don't usually live here in the slums. His words were deep, each syllable was a dagger aimed at Alana's self-esteem. But she knows better than to put up with his cruelty. Her face, a mask of stoic determination, does not betray the slightest confusion inside. Alana straightens her shoulders with a voice tempered by newfound determination and meets Grayson's gaze. In fact, it is, she says, and there is a challenge and pride in her words. My father. But before she can finish, Grayson raises his hand, interrupting her with a wave of dismissive arrogance. Yes, yes, save the sobbing story. Do you think your last name gives you special privileges? Well, I have news for you. Alana, her heart pounding in her chest, tries to step back to distance herself from the officer. Tension builds as Grayson's behavior becomes more and more depressing. But he does not know that he is about to realize the seriousness of his mistake and the impending presence of an officer. But before she can take more than one step, Grayson's fingers tighten around her arm like a vice and pull her towards him with a vicious jerk. Where are you thinking of going, huh? You're not leaving until I tell you. Grayson growls, tightening his grip. Pain pierces Alana's arm like lightning. Alana's voice, no longer muffled by fear, comes to life, and its volume amazes even her. Hey, let me go. She demands, struggling to break out of Grayson's grip. But his grip is relentless. His power is fueled by a venomous contempt that seems to be growing by the second. You're a little boy. Do you think you can talk to me like that? You're in a lot of trouble, Grayson growls angrily. With the force of a push, he pushes Alana towards his patrol car. Her body crashes into the cold metal with a painful thud, her legs do not keep up with her momentum. Entangled under her, she lets out a sharp cry and falls to the ground. Her knees scrape on the asphalt from the rough internal agony. The sound of her fall echoes down the street, obsessive percussion in this nocturnal symphony of violence. As Alana's body screams in protest, her mind ignites against the growing terror. Her trembling but determined fingers grope for the phone. The touch screen glows like a beacon of hope in the dark. Concentrating intently, she dials a familiar number. Her father's contact is saved as Dad. It seems that each ring lasts forever. And this sound cuts through the night like a prayer. Alana's plea, crude and unrestrained, speaks of a vulnerability that runs deeper than her current situation. Her voice, shattered by fear and pain, carries a desperate urgency that pierces the air like a scream in the night. Dad, I need you. She sobs, and these words fall from her lips in a flood of emotions. This is Officer Grayson. He grabbed me. I'm scared. The line is silent, except for Alana's shallow, hoarse breathing. The scene moves to a spacious office, the walls of which are decorated with praises and awards. At the head of a smooth mahogany table sits a rock. His posture is focused, tense, when he meets with a group of executives. But in the blink of an eye, the seriousness of a business meeting evaporates like a mirage when the rock's phone rings. His gaze stops on the caller ID. His expression instantly transforms from a stern business tycoon to a caring father. Alan. He whispers, and there is a rough defense in his voice that does not tolerate any objections. The tone of the rock, though still measured and calm, contains a turbulent undercurrent that hints at its fury simmering just below the surface. Alan. He repeats, and each syllable sounds like a fervent plea. What happened? Are you okay? What's going on? Even in this moment of uncertainty, the behavior of the rock attracts attention. Its presence is an unshakable anchor in the changing tides of Alana's suffering. Alana's words, choked with tears, cut through the tube like a scalpel, cutting deep into the heart of the rock. A policeman. She screams, and there is suffering in her voice. He stopped me and grabbed me. He pushed me to the ground. Rock's expression hardens, his jaw clenching like a vice. Rage, hot and insistent, pierces him like a snake, its venomous fangs ready to strike. His voice, like steel, demands, "Where are you? I'm coming for you." The rock truck, its wheels screaming in protest, stops just a few feet from the scene of the altercation. The door swings open, releasing the force of nature that shakes the earth like an angry god descending from heaven. A rock appears, streetlights illuminate his chiseled body, his gaze blazes with righteous rage. Grayson, whose arrogance had seemed unfathomable moments before, would falter under the weight of the rock's presence. He takes a step back, his expression changing from complacency to stunned disbelief. Grayson, whose former bravado is now tinged with uncertainty, tries to feebly poke fun at the arrival of the rock. A rescue operation. He grins, and his words are full of sarcasm. Came to save the little princess from the big bad cop. But his humor fails. It's a sad attempt to distract from the main tension, crackling like static in the air. The rock, focusing solely on Alana's well-being, strides towards her with purposeful intensity, as if possessed by a primal paternal instinct to protect his cubs. Kneeling in front of her, he wraps his massive hands around her face. There is a powerful mixture of concern and unwavering determination in his expression. "Are you okay?" he asks with a soft rumble in his voice. "Did he hurt you?" Alana, tears drying on her cheeks, sobs softly and gestures towards Grayson. Defiance and lingering fear are mixed on her face. "I'm all right, Dad," she says. Now her voice becomes smoother, hinting at her characteristic strength. "He grabbed me for no reason. I told him I was going home, but he wouldn't listen." Rock's expression turns into a granite mask as he turns his attention to Grayson, who is shifting uncomfortably under the weight of the scrutiny. Growing to his full height, the rock's physique outshines Grayson like a giant in front of an ant. His expression, now expressing controlled rage, resembles a volcano preparing to erupt. His dark, piercing eyes bored into Grayson, leaving no room for escape. Peering at the man with extraordinary concentration, Grayson, his bravado staggered, takes a step back, suddenly realizing the precariousness of his position. He opens his mouth to say something, but the rock interrupts him in a low and dangerous voice. The question of the rock hangs in the air like a guillotine blade, ready to fall with deadly precision. "Did you touch my daughter?" he repeats, his voice dropping an octave, which is a harbinger of the coming anger. Grayson, mistaking the rock's silence for acquiescence, straightens his shoulders, a grin appearing at the corner of his lips. "She refused to cooperate," he says, and there's a smug satisfaction in his voice. "It was necessary to teach her respect. A girl these days, he chuckles, his tone mocking and condescending. But the laughter freezes on his lips as the rock approaches, his footsteps echo like thunderclaps in the night. The proximity of the rock turns Grayson's confidence into fear. His arrogance is crumbling like sand castles under the tide. With each step, Grayson Rock retreats, as if trying to escape from the wrath of an approaching tsunami. "Respect," the rock repeats in a low voice filled with menace. "You think pushing a teenage girl to the ground is teaching respect?" His eyes, blazing with the rage of a despised father, penetrate Grayson's soul. Grayson, clutching a wooden baton on his belt, tries to regain his power. "Step back, big guy," he warns, and the tremor in his voice betrays his fear. "I'm the law here." The Rock, clenching its hands into fists the size of a bowling ball, laughs with a low, terrifying sound that seems to shake the very ground under their feet. "The law?" The Rock snorts. "If you were a real cop, you'd be standing up for the law, not hiding behind it." The Rock's words, uttered with the icy confidence of a man ready to administer justice, are the death knell for Grayson's hopes of escaping this confrontation unscathed. "Not today. You won't," the Rock declares in a voice like a judge passing sentence. Grayson, whose bravado is now a distant memory, backs up faster, trying to keep distance between himself and the tall behemoth sneaking up to him. In a desperate attempt to defend himself, Grayson swings the baton with the ferocity of a cornered animal, hoping to deliver a crushing blow. But the calic reflexes are honed by years of training and discipline, catches wooden weapons without much effort. The sound of splintering wood echoes through the night. With a casual flick of his wrist, he breaks the baton in two and the shards fall to the sidewalk like shards of Grayson's authority. The Rock's words, filled with the promise of retribution, seem to distort the very air around them. "You just made the worst mistake of your life," he roars, and his voice is like the rumble of impending doom. Grayson, looking around in panic, looks for a way to escape, but finds himself cornered, and his opportunities are decreasing by the second. "Please don't do this," he whispers in a trembling voice. In the blink of an eye, the Rock displays a crushing physical prowess that confuses Grayson. His movements, honed over the years in a square circle, are a symphony of controlled power, ruthless efficiency that belies his rage. He turns Grayson around, disarming him with a quick twist of his wrist and locks him in a rear, naked choke hold, his massive arms devoid of power flaws. With a calmness bordering on serenity, the Rock pulls Grayson to it, his lips touching the terrified officer's ear. Grayson, whose fear has now become a tangible force, is frantically beating in the grip of the Rock, his limbs shaking like a drowning man clinging to a lifeline. "Please don't hurt me," Grayson shouts, his voice shaking with despair. In a futile attempt to escape, he rushes to the cruisoir. His eyes are fixed on the safe driver's seat. But the Rock, equally agile, with a strong track, stops Grayson's path. His body is a wall of muscle, into which Grayson crashes like a wave into rocks. The Rock, whose voice sounds like an icy whisper of threat, looks down at the defeated Grayson, whose body is trembling with fear and fatigue. "You're not going anywhere," he says, and there's contempt in his words. "We're going to make sure everyone knows what kind of cop you really are. We will make sure that you never harm any innocent person again." With a sharp push, he pushes Grayson to his knees, burying his face in the cold, hard ground. Then he reaches for the phone, dialing the number with cold precision. While the night sky paints the scene in shades of inky darkness, the flashing lights of police cars converge on the street. Their sirens form an eerie chorus against the background of suburban silence. Amid the growing confusion, Captain Morales emerges from a sea of uniforms, his expression a mixture of concern and determination. "What the hell is going on here?" he barks, not taking his eyes off the cliff and Grayson's figure at his feet. "Somebody tell me what's going on." The Rock stands still, his eyes are fixed on Morales, his posture is unshakable. The Rock, in a calm but unwavering voice, sets out the sequence of events, drawing a murderous portrait of Grayson's behavior. "Your officer attacked my daughter for no reason," he says, and there is a righteousness in his voice that attracts attention. "He grabbed her, threw her to the ground. She was just walking home. As he speaks, the witnesses, their eyes wide with fear and anger, nod in agreement. Their testimony decides Grayson's fate. Morales, a mask of horror on his face, looks at Grayson, and a ball of shame and rage seethes in him. "Give me your badge and your gun," Morales orders, and his every word sounds like a shot in the finale. "You're done. You should not wear a uniform if you consider this behavior acceptable. You're shaming your badge." Grayson, defeated and cowering on the ground, gives up his badge and weapon. His fingers fumble with the task, his face contorts with a mixture of shock and defeat. Grayson begins to falter in a trembling voice, trying to defend himself. His words are confused in excuses and half-truths. "Me. I was thinking. Her?" he pleads, and his despair is palpably in the air. But Morales, whose patience has burst, drowns him out with a thunderous crack of his voice. "That's enough. I don't want to hear it. You attacked a teenage girl. If it wasn't for the rock, God knows what you could have done." Back in the warmth and safety of her home, Scala sits next to Alana. His massive body is almost comically overshadowed by the delicate care he takes while tending to her scratched knee. His hands, big and calloused from years of hard work, move with surprising softness as he wipes the blood with a cotton swab. "That's all, Angel," calms the rock. "Just a few more seconds, and we'll fix you up like new." Alana turns to her father with an expression of gratitude, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "Thank you for coming, Dad," she says, and her voice trembles with undisguised emotions that she can barely contain. "I do not know what would have happened if you had not appeared when you appeared." Scala's expression softens, his eyes glisten with his own unshed tears. "I will always be there for you, Alana," he says with tenderness. "You're my girl. I love you." As the camera turns, father and daughter embrace, their bodies creating a single silhouette, against the background of the warm ambient glow of their home. The love they share, indestructible, fierce, pulsates throughout the scene, its power radiating outward like a wave of light. In the background, a deep and sonorous voiceover utters words that summarize the message of the story. In a world where injustice rears its ugly head, sometimes it takes a hero or a father to stand up and fix everything. The rock in this case was both.